What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Today we are test driving a 2023 Acura RDX technology package, and this is a front-wheel drive car with a 272 horsepower turbocharged engine and a 10-speed automatic transmission. And the RDX really is a very, very nice car to drive. It has this very solid feeling to it, but still a very compliant and smooth ride. The steering is light. Not the most feeling, but it's very accurate, and you do have a lot of confidence handling wise in this car. The first couple of generations of RDX were sort of based on the CRV chassis. This is now the third generation, and supposedly it is now on its own platform that it doesn't share with other models. I gotta be honest, even when manufacturers say that, I do find that hard to believe in this day and age when there's so much platform sharing and developing new cars is so expensive. But I have to say, this feels very different from the most recent CRVs that I've driven. So I could believe it. I could definitely believe that this is not based on a CRV chassis. It just feels stiffer and sturdier is the best possible way that I can put it. It's really a fantastic feeling car. And this is a very competitive segment. I mean, this car's directly up against BMW X3s, Mercedes GLCs. I don't know, people would compare it maybe to either the Lexus RX or NX, depending on what kind of a mood you're in. There's not a direct matchup there. But the RDX is definitely worth a look if that's the segment that you're in, and you like to drive a car. And I think the value is there too. Even on a base model, you still get things like the panoramic moonroof, heated seats, all the safety features, blind spot monitoring. This technology package gives you nav, parking sensors, wireless charging, a little bit nicer stereo. This is a brand new car, so I will be keeping my RPM under 4,500 out of respect for both the vehicle and the future owner, who I'm sure would prefer that their car not be redlined before they buy it, and that's totally fine. Let's let this person, you want to come in? Come on, CRV. Oh, you don't want to come in. Okay, fine. Well, then I want to change lanes. I've got room to do it. Acura doesn't sell a ton of cars in the United States. A little over 100,000 for 2022, which is a pretty low number. And it's surprisingly low for me because I live in Southern California, and quite frankly, I see Acuras everywhere. I mean, they're pretty common and pretty popular in this area. I could see that maybe in the rest of the country, not so much so, but Acuras have always been popular in Southern California, at least since they've come out, and especially the SUVs remain so. I myself recently got a new Integra, so I am a fan of the product, and I think that the reemergence of the Integra will certainly help Acura sales. I'm gonna just make this right on the yellow and get past the Chrysler 200 retractable hardtop convertible with the pink stripes on it. Get a little bit of curvage out of the RDX. I remember driving the original RDX when it came out, which was actually Honda's first turbocharged engine in a road car for the United States. That was a 2.4 liter variable inlet nozzle 4-cylinder turbo, and that thing, with the standard super handling all-wheel drive at the time, it really felt like a rally car on stilts, and that feeling kind of remains. The 3rd generation RDX that I'm driving now definitely is a more mature product. Not quite as raucous as that 1st gen one, and I think a big improvement over the 2nd gen. The 10-speed automatic is smooth, but it's a lot of gears. And I mean, this is not even a criticism on Acura, because they're by no means the only car company to use a 10-speed automatic these days. I wonder where it stops. You know, do you do an 11-speed automatic next? Do you do a 13-speed automatic? Or nobody would do that because it's bad luck. You go from 12 speeds to 14 speeds. I don't know. It's smooth, and I've gotten used to it because I've driven so many new cars with 8, 9, 10-speed gearboxes. But if you listen to it, it's like, man, this thing is shifting a lot. And I know people on the internet all hate CVTs, or at least the ones that make YouTube comments, but at some point it's like, would a CVT maybe be a little bit better of an idea in here? But the transmission in this car is fine. I'm not complaining about it. It's an observation that sweeps across all modern cars. It's just too much gears. You can hear the turbo just barely under light acceleration. I do wish that they made the turbo slightly more obvious in a lot of new cars. If you know what you're listening for, you can hear it, but I think that auto manufacturers are just going to the turbocharged, smaller displacement engines so that the cars do better on the EPA tests, and but they don't necessarily want their customers to know there's a turbo, because if you have somebody coming out of a V6 and their new engine feels nice but makes a bunch of weird noises, they may complain about that. So I feel like a lot of auto manufacturers do their best to minimize the turbo-ness of their engines, which is a bit of a disappointment to me. I wish that I could hear the turbos a little bit more, but I like cars and I like mechanical stuff, so that's just me. Everyone has their own set of needs for an automobile, and sometimes manufacturers have to build not necessarily to the lowest common denominator, but to the simplest common denominator to keep the customers from complaining too much, which I certainly understand and have sympathy for. Yeah, this thing just feels very stable in the turns. Even at light throttle and relatively low RPM, it accelerates well. I like the torque from Honda's turbo engines. This is a little airport here where rich guys fly their Cessnas in and out of town and crash them occasionally. I don't know that I would ever get in one of those planes with one of those people. Sweet little car. If you're looking for a, you know, compact luxury SUV, I think you could do farther. You could go farther and fare worse. That's how that phrase goes. So I would say to put the RDX on your shopping list. I'm gonna wrap this video up because I don't have a whole lot else to say about it. I hope you liked my video. If you did, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, etc., etc., and have yourself a fantastic day. Bye-bye.